Hey, what's up, guys? Once again, I had to test the sound quality of the video. It was still real shaky and echoey in the background. I did another test and it sounded perfect. So here I am once again. I have came back with another story that I'm going to read to you from this wonderful book right here, Missing 411, A Sobering Coincidence by yours truly, David Bihlmaier. There you go. Love this book. This is like probably the third video I done did, or the second video. Well, yeah, the third video I did. The last two was really shaky, so I got to do this again. I got a lot of things I got to share with you today. It's going to be dealing with a lot of folkloric creatures that may have something to do with a lot. Well, I won't say may, but to me personally, I think it has a lot to do with some of these cases. But at the same time, is also dealing with beings that are not from this planet, or that are not from this plane, or this dimension, or even this earth. It may be from a parallel earth where science fiction is actually reality, where they come from. Because I also think that there is a certain thing dealing with these cases that I like to call the Lucy effect. And when I say Lucy, that's right, Scarlett Johansson in the movie Lucy, about a woman who was able to use 100% of her brain's power or capacity. I'm going to get to that, in the middle of me reading the stories that I want to read to you today. I'm going to give you a double whammy today. There's two stories. One story is about a young man named Ryan C. Matt. The other, Nathan Bihlmaier. Both young men are from Maine, but from different parts of Maine. One is from Portland, Maine, and one is from Biddeford, Maine. Biddeford Pool, Maine. Okay, now getting right down to business. Ryan C. Matt first. Now, he went missing on 04/26/2003 at 11 p.m. in Biddeford Pool, Maine. He was 22. He was 20 years old at the time when he vanished without a trace. Well, I won't say without a trace because he was found, but it's still. Anyway, I'm getting too ahead of myself. But anyway, okay. Now, Ryan was a resident of Plainville, Connecticut, and a transfer student from the University of New England, attending Connecticut State University. He went with friends to a residential party in Biddeford Pool, Maine. The home was located on Mile Stretch Road, a beautiful section of the coast. Friends of Ryan state that he became intoxicated and was seen walking away from the house at 11 p.m. Now, see, that happens a lot with these cases, with these young men. They get drunk, and then for some reason they just walk away, trying to get home because they know they're drunk. But they don't, obviously, they don't think to want the help of their friends to get them home. But they still walk away, and that's how they always turn up missing, because it's like I said before, if you're by yourself, you're liable to get taken by these beings and end up dead with no cause of death. Now, if you're with a group, you're less likely to get taken unless you fall behind or get ahead of them. Okay, now, let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. This was the last time he was seen alive. When friends couldn't locate Ryan, he was reported missing. Immediately after Ryan disappeared, the searches for him started. A May 4, 2003 article in The Hour had this about the effort to find him. For 2 days after he was reported missing, several hundred people and more than a dozen agencies searched for him using helicopters, planes, boats, and search dogs. Christopher Matt, Ryan's dad, spent countless hours searching the coast, village, and surrounding neighborhoods for his son. The Biddeford police classified the incident as a standard missing person case. 2 months went by without any updates on Ryan. On June 28, 2003, boaters from the Saco River, or Saco River, I don't know, but anyway, were in an area offshore and found a body. On July 2nd, 2003, the Bangor Daily News had this article about the find. The red plaid shirt and jeans on the body matched the description of clothing Matt was wearing the night he disappeared. A wallet with Matt's identification was found 8 to 10 feet from the body, which was discovered a half-mile of offshore, Biddeford police said. I couldn't locate a final decision from the coroner on his cause of death, which is something that happens a lot. And the reason why is because the evidence surrounding the case is so weird, and they realize that there is no cause of death. They're not going to print that because they don't want to be looked at as a company that can't seem to figure out why a person died. Okay, I can understand the whole integrity thing, but give me a break. If nobody's gonna look at you weird, they're gonna get mad. But if you can't find it, you can't find it. That means there is something else going on a level that we will probably never understand. But they just have to get that in their heads. That's why so many parents be like, I know my son was kidnapped, or I know my daughter was abducted. By who? A person? No, because when you read the evidence and the profile, it doesn't say anything in it that indicates that a person took that child, or that person, or that grown person, that is. But anyway, okay. Okay. The more I read about this, excuse me, the more I read about these specific cases, the more I find wallets and identification in close proximity of or on the body. In this incident, Ryan's wallet and identification is found next to the body. If the body had been in the ocean for over 2 months, the churning movement of waves would seemingly dislodge a wallet, as it apparently had. Then the wallet was found next to the body for easy identification. If a body is found in a small pond or small lake, I understand the wallet staying in the pocket, but in an area where the body would have had to disappear from a beach and then be transported by currents a half-mile offshore, it seems unusual. It would also appear from the description that Ryan was not wearing socks or shoes when he was located. When he was located. Now, see, this case here is a classic case of, you get just like all the other cases where the young college kid is at a party, he gets drunk or gets a little intoxicated, which means tipsy. For some reason, he gets the idea in his head that he wants to go home, but he doesn't want to go home by the assistance of his friends, which means they have that saying, friends don't let friends drive drunk, or also friends don't let friends walk home drunk either, because they always end up in the river or in a body of water, 2 months down the road, or that's when they find it, 2 months down the road. So whatever happened to that person between point A and point B is a complete mystery. Whatever they encountered, that's all I can really say is whatever they encountered, because it's definitely not a who. Because if it was a who, there would have been some evidence to state who actually did it. But there's never any evidence to state that a person did it. There's never any evidence to state whatever this thing is did it. But it's clever enough. It's clever enough to do the job without, leaving any evidence. So this is what I'm thinking. The Lucy effect. Okay, and if you hear the words, what I'm saying, Lucy effect. Now think about it. Lucy. Where did that word come from? The movie with Scarlett Johansson, where she acquired the ability to use 100% of her brain's capacity. Now, we can only use 30% of our brain's capacity, but she was able to use 100%. Therefore, able to do all these crazy things like accelerate the growth of the hair coming from her follicles to make her hair longer, change the hair color of it, change her DNA at will, do all kinds of things. She could levitate people off the ground with her brain to hand telekinesis powers. Okay, she can move people around, create like a energy force field around the person's body, causing them to basically get squished. If she wanted to do that, she can throw you as far as she wants to throw you. She can leave you sitting in mid-air in a wall of energy. She can do all kinds of things. So this is what I'm thinking. Whatever took that young man from where he was walking, they were able to levitate him off the ground and move him to a spot where they wanted to kill him without touching him, and throw him in the river or body of water. Now, the whole killing that person without touching them is another analogy. Scanners. Okay, I don't know if anybody's ever seen that movie. It's a late 70s movie where these people had the ability to actually do some crazy things with their mind, like get inside people's heads, make it explode, make it swell up, and literally just mess with their nervous system and their brain alone, to where they were able to actually kill them without touching them, using their mind's power to do that. And I'm thinking with a lot of these cases, they have these really weird characteristics that come from stuff that we may have seen in a movie years ago, or it also comes from these ancient folkloric legendary stories that we heard way back when. Okay, like the whole night marches thing that I talked about in a lot of my other videos, where a person is face down in a body of water. A person is face down to show respect to the Hawaiian royalty and to the night marchers. But here's what I was talking about right here. Scanners. It's a movie where they're able to mess with the head and somehow kill them without touching them. They're using their brain to kill people. Okay, there's even a picture here where the brain actually where the head catches on fire. Look at that. They can start fires on the top of someone's head by using their brain's power. And there's also another one in here where they can actually make the head explode by doing something with the brain. It probably swells the brain up to the point where the head just explodes, like that. And it's just weird, So, not saying that these people are being found dead with no heads on their bodies, or they find brain matter scattered all over the place because the head exploded. But it is definitely a characteristic that you can find in that movie where they use their brain to kill people. Okay, and that's what's happening here. People are being found dead with no cause of death, but yet at the same time, however they were able to kill them, they were able to kill them without touching them. And the only thing I can think of, they're using their mind to kill people. They have this next level ability to where they can use 100% of their brain in order to do that, let alone lift them off the ground so that the cadaver dogs cannot find the scent of the person that they're looking for, which happens in every single case. They're never able to find the scent of that person. So what they do, they move around in a circle and they lay down flat, meaning that they can't find the scent, or they don't want to do it no more, or they get so scared that they don't want to even try and search because they know something is wrong. Okay, so like I said, it's anybody's guess. But anyway, moving on to the next story. This one, of course, like I said before, is about Nathan Bihlmaier. Okay, or Bihlmaier because of the M-A. But anyway, okay, now he went missing on 05/20/2012 in the early AM in Portland, Maine. He was 31 years old when he vanished. Okay, the location of this incident was Portland, Maine. It is the largest city in Maine and sits on the Atlantic Ocean. It has a population of approximately 66,000 and is known for having a beautiful waterfront with a great harbor, restaurants, and bars. Nathan Bihlmaier is one of those brilliant people I have written about before who just seemingly vanished. He was raised in the farming community of Osborne, Kansas. There were two boys in his family, he and his younger brother Matt. Nathan was called Nate by his friends and family. He graduated as the class valedictorian in 1999 from Osborne High School. He received a scholarship to attend the University of Kansas, where in 2003 he received his Bachelor of Science. Nate went on to work in healthcare information technology, where his employment allowed him to meet his wife, Nancy Ho. Um, the couple married on January 8, 2011. Nate enjoyed life and the outdoors. He liked to ski in the Colorado Rockies, go to concerts, and play golf. His pursuit of more knowledge led him to enroll in a Master in Business Administration program at Harvard University. And this guy, he loves schools. That's good. And from the looks of it, he went on to go to 2 different schools. So anyway, a person that wants to know wants to just constantly excel in knowledge, is a very stand-up guy and very intelligent. And I actually took up business administration at NOVA, which is Northern Virginia Community College, back after I graduated high school. So I know exactly what that's all about. Okay, on May, let me make sure I'm right in the same area. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, he was scheduled to graduate on May 24th, 2012. On May 19th, 2012, Nathan went with 2 friends to Portland, Maine, to celebrate his upcoming graduation. The group was staying at the Hilton Garden Inn on Commercial Street in Portland. They were drinking across the street at the Rira Club. There are conflicting reports about about how intoxicated Nate was early in the morning on May 20th. Some accounts state that he was intoxicated, bumped into band equipment, and was asked to leave at approximately 11:20 p.m. Other accounts state that he was fine and people lost track of him in the bar and he disappeared. Okay, first of all, this seems to happen a lot in a lot of these cases, but it is beyond me how a person can actually be in a crowded club in the center of a bunch of people that's dancing, drinking, or whatever. Either way, you're still gonna see him. So to me, I'm thinking whatever took him was able to render him invisible to everybody around him, so that they couldn't see him leave the premises, because they say they just lost track of him and he just disappeared out of the crowd. Okay, so how a person can do that, I'll never know. Now there are other stories that David Paulides talked about where they have CCTV video footage in clubs, where one guy was in a club. They saw him upstairs talking to a female, and they saw him in a crowd of people. But in every video that a cop looked at in that story that David Paulides talked about, he never saw him leave the club. He was out of range, but he was never caught leaving the club. So the way I see it, these people are so clever. They take him within a second of him being out of the camera, out of the view of the camera. Okay, but at the same time, nobody ever sees him. It's like he is invisible to everyone except for whatever it is they want to take him. That's the way I see it. So somehow there's some type of invisibility involved as well. All right. Okay, this was the last time anyone saw anyone. This was the last time anyone heard from Nate. Okay. Once he didn't return to his room. Wait a minute. I think I went a little bit too far. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the last contact anyone had with Nate was a strange phone call after midnight when he stated he was lost and near an official-looking stone building. Police guessed he was near the Custom House, about 1 block from the Riri Club. This was the last time anyone heard from Nate. Once he didn't return to his room, his friends contacted the police. There was a massive search that continued nonstop for Nathan. On November 15, 2012, the Press Herald ran this article about the incident. Police Chief Michael Soschuk, I read about him in the last book, Missing 411 in Western U.S. So, because they had a lot of cases that were in the same state, Maine, in the last book. Okay, Police Chief Michael Soschuk said this week that police cannot determine what Bihlmaier did from 11:20 p.m. on May 19th when he left the bar until 12:54 a.m. on May 20th when his cell phone went dead. On May 21st, divers were in the bay near the club where Nathan was drinking and found one piece of his clothing. Just one piece. So that means he was probably in nothing but his underwear, but they also found fragments of his clothing near the body, I guess. But they didn't say that either, so I don't know what kind of condition his body was in or what kind of clothes he might have been wearing, like maybe just his socks or just his underwear. Okay. They refused to say what piece they found. It could be a piece of his pants, a shirt, maybe a fragment of his socks. Who knows? Okay. It was also reported that 2 flip-flops belonging to Nathan were found near the water where he was found. I've also seen a lot of people wearing flip-flops, at certain times of the year as well. And they have the little Nike emblem on the part that covers the top portion of the foot. Okay. Oh yeah. On May 22nd at 11:45 a.m., divers found his body in Casco Bay. The body was transported to the coroner's office where an autopsy was performed. His death was ruled an accident by drowning. Okay, now this is something that comes up and occurs every single time they find situations like this. They find situations like this where they found dead in a body of water. They can never find the cause of death, but they'll say that they'll appease the parents and the media and the public by saying that it was an accidental drowning. See, that keeps them from getting lashed at about why can't they find the cause of death of my son or daughter or whoever the case may be. And they don't want the integrity of the company to get, slandered. So they just say, the same thing over and over again. Accidental drowning. All because they were found in a body of water or near a body of water. And I bet you that body was bone dry. I bet you. Because that's probably the weirdest part of that case. Your body was bone dry, but you were found near a body of water. That means that the water had to have carried you to that point. But it's never mentioned in the autopsy report or in any report dealing with this case. Okay. Now, his blood alcohol level was at 0.22%. They also found caffeine in his system, meaning he would have been completely groggy. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, the times when I've gotten drunk, when I was hanging out with somebody and we was at a bar, I actually did drink some black coffee. So there is some truth to this wives' tale about how coffee can get rid of alcohol in your system so that you won't feel drunk anymore. It somehow neutralizes it, and it does work. I was like tone deaf. All I could hear was noise. I couldn't hear nothing but that. So a friend of mine took me to Waffle House, and I drank me some black coffee. And I actually felt better the more I drank the coffee. I still ended up with a hangover, but I wasn't drunk anymore. So it does work. So there is some validity to what he said in the book about him, about them finding caffeine in his system. He was probably trying to get rid of his drunk state by drinking coffee. Okay. So, here we go. When police look at an incident, they look at the totality of the circumstances. This must include other related issues and other incidences in that area. I could not find another incident like his in the area around Portland. However, his case does mimic other college men that were drinking and were later found deceased in a body of water. Coincidences are important when putting together a profile. Nathan was scheduled for commencement exercises at Howard University 4 days after he went missing. He knew that his wife, Nancy, was 4 months pregnant, and they had planned to tell his parents at graduation. Now, that's crazy. You know, he had a baby on the way, and he died before his baby was even born. And that's a horrible thing to even try to grasp, you know. But in his case, like I said, he went out to a party to celebrate him graduating, and he got drunk. And then he actually left the premises, probably trying to get back home. But for some reason, he didn't want the assistance of his friends to get him home. You know, but see, he disappeared from the bar or from the club that he was at. That was the main big problem in this case. He disappeared from the club. They lost sight of him. You know, which is crazy, because for them to lose sight of him in a crowded club, somebody had to have seen him other than his friends. But he, for some reason, was invisible to everyone else. So to me, he was being cloaked by this being who wanted to take him and kill him. You know, so I mean that's my educated guess in that matter. But on to creepier things. Now, in these cases, there's always an element of paranormal dealing with these cases, because of the fact that when you're dealing with stuff like this, and you read the profiles in the cases that he writes about in these books, he even said I even said what he said in his last post. He want people to read the cases and come up with their own idea of what may have happened, and I do that. And every single case leads to something that is beyond our thinking when it comes to logical thinking. It goes way beyond that. Get the idea of a serial killer being a part of this. Get the idea of a pedophile killing someone out of your head. Get the idea of a human, period, out of your head. Or even if it is a human, it is not a human of this earth or of this plane. It's got to be coming from another reality, or from another dimension, or another world, where science fiction is reality. Okay? Like I said before, the Lucy effect. Whatever this thing is, it has the ability to use 100% of its brain capacity. Now, if it even has a brain, I'm thinking it could be some next level being who exceeded the use of his brain, because Einstein said it himself. If we were able to use 100% of our brain's power, we wouldn't need our bodies. So maybe it's a bunch of invisible floating brains, or the manifestation of brain power. So I'm thinking he was able to strip away everything that a human has: physical body, the physical manifestation of a brain, and the power of that person's brain is so intense that it probably didn't need the physical manifestation of its own brain, and it's just the energy of the brain itself that is able to come to our world and do these things. That's what I'm thinking. It is, whatever this thing is, it has the ability to strip away everything that has something to do with a human. The shell of the body, the muscle, the bones, and even all of the matter and tissue of the brain. And the actual energy coming from the brain was so powerful that it can actually work without the shell of the brain. You know what I'm saying here? It doesn't need the actual shell of the brain to manifest itself. The power and the mass of its energy is so intense that it can actually form a type of energy where it can still operate without the brain itself. I don't know, this is just me talking off the top of my head, I'm thinking, because that's what it seems like. And it's some type of being that can kill a person without touching them. It uses its brain power to kill a person and still not leave any evidence whatsoever. How is it able to do that without tearing apart the body itself, or tearing apart the brain, or causing some sort of trauma to where they see lacerations in the brain, or some type of like bruising of the brain, because it was so intense that it killed the person? I don't know. I mean, that's just anybody's guess. Just like all those pictures I showed you before about the upright walking werewolf in the street. Now, some people will probably say, "Oh, that's just CGI. That picture was doctored." Okay, that doesn't mean that it was. That's just you saying that because you never seen one before. If you saw one of those things with your own eyes, you would think differently every single time. I've never seen a werewolf before. I've never seen any of these creatures, and I lived in New Jersey, so I never even seen the Jersey Devil before. I'm just saying, just because you never seen it doesn't mean that it's real. But I do know that there is something going on here in a lot of these cases where they talk about mythical creatures, or they think, or if they even know what a mythical creature is capable of, they add it to these cases because just like I've been saying, whatever this thing is, it knows a lot about this planet, and it knows a lot about our history and earthly history, and it knows a lot about the movies that we see, because a lot of these characteristics that we find in the movie, we create analogies that sound similar to what you saw in the movie. Okay, so I'm thinking it uses all of these characteristics from our history and from the movies that we see and add it to the killings in these cases. I'm just saying, if you think about the people, the men being found dead face down without nothing on but their underwear, the legend of the ancient Hawaiians and the night marchers, you have to strip down to your naked body and bury your head in the sand. It's just that characteristic of their heads being face down in the sand and them being naked. They use that idea, and they just collect all these little tiny pieces of each story from these legendary folklore stories, and they add it to the evidence in these cases, and it throws people off. It gets them so confused they can't figure out what happened, and they know that. That's why they do what they do, whatever these people are, or whoever these people are. So like I said, if you want to believe that a person took your child, or a person abducted your child, you know, a serial killer, a pedophile, a person that sits in the park and waits for a person to be alone and they take them. No human can create a crime scene like that and not leave any evidence. None. I bet you anything that not one of you people have even heard of a person that's been able to do that. Yeah, there are people who have done that in the past, like Jack the Ripper. Back in those days, they didn't have DNA science. So all they had to go by was what they saw at the crime scene. There was never any fingerprints because he wore gloves. I mean, to their knowledge. Okay? But he only used a scalpel. And that scalpel was never found. I don't think. But they never found out who that person was until years and years later, decades later. And they found out it was an actual doctor who hated prostitutes. And he killed them. He was found out eventually. But we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of years of people disappearing without a trace. There's no evidence in that. They just know that the person disappeared. So, get those things out of your mind, folks. It is not human. Start thinking on a paranormal level. Start thinking about phenomenon that to you is science fiction, or to you that is unreal because it's just a story. Somebody made it up. I never heard of anyone making up something like that before, because these stories always have a truthful background. It came from some story from way back when, okay, and it was trickled down through time and became a big story that they used in the movie. Just like the Wolfman, okay, I'm pretty sure there was a truthful fact in that, where maybe some man way back when got bit by a mythical werewolf-like creature and was given the ability to transform himself into a werewolf at the full moon. And that person probably died out, but the story still lived, and it got sent through time and became the #1 movie back in the 30s, which they did recreate, and I saw it. It was pretty good. Okay, and then you still have all these stories about werewolves that roam the areas, and like these devil dogs that they catch on camera in a place called Dartmoor. It's a little small video of the Dartmoor beast, where you see this black creature off in the distance, and it looks massive, and it had a big tail, and it was running like a cat, and it disappeared behind a hill. but you still saw it. It was off in the distance. It was blurry, but you could still tell it was some type of creature. What kind of creature? I don't know. Maybe it was some kind of mythical creature that slipped through our world, through a portal from their world. I don't know. But like I said, does anybody guess what's happening to these people? I don't know, but that's why I'm here, to figure it out and to use the theoretical ideas that come from this mind right here, because I'm so into the paranormal and the unknown and like weird phenomena. But anyway, that's my time. I really do hope that the sound quality of this video is perfect this time, because I had to do it 3 times in a row to get it right, and I think I did because I did a test. So hope you like it and enjoy the stories that I read to you and my theories of what I think is happening here. And remember what I said about the Lucy effect and the scanner ability. I think that has a lot to deal with these cases. I really do. Because if a cadaver dog can never find the scent, obviously that person is being lifted off the ground. So they obviously use some type of telekinesis to levitate that person so they can carry them to their death. And how they able to kill them? Easy. The scanner ability. But the only problem is there's never any evidence of any kind of trauma inside the body or outside the body. So how they're able to do it, I don't know. Maybe they're able to leave out. They're probably able to heal the person on the inside. There you go. There you go. They kill the person that way with their mind, and they also have a healing ability. They kill the person, then they heal the body from the inside out. Therefore, it just looked like they just died for some apparent reason. I didn't think of that until just now. Drink that in, people. Think about it. It's weird, but obviously that's what's happening here. If you really use your brain to think about this stuff, you can come up with these ideas. They kill the person with their mind. Then they heal the body even after they're dead, so there won't be any evidence left behind as far as them using their brain power to rupture the brain as well as the nervous system in the body. I'm just saying, you never know. It could be the truth. And it doesn't have to be any evidence for you to figure this out. You can use your own illogical. You can use your own illogical thinking to figure these things out, because logical thinking is not going to bring these people home or solve any case. I'm just saying. David Paulides, he's a facts guy. That's what he does. He states facts. I am the guy who comes up with the crazy theories about what could be happening here, because the book tells you that something weird is going on, but nobody wants to talk about that weird part except me. So if you want to find out the weird stuff in all these cases, come to my channel. And I also want to welcome another subscriber. That's number 68 that I have. 68 subscribers now. So welcome to my page. I hope you enjoy. All right. Thank you for joining us. I gotta go. It's early in the morning. I gotta eat my breakfast, and so I gotta get on with the rest of my day. And I will post more. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for my notifications. All right. Aloha, mahalo, and a hui ho, guys. Be blessed, be safe, and have a great day. I know I will.